ever since I announced that I'm leaving the family farm and going off on my own, I've made a few videos on this tractor. Well, first of all, the announcement video of when I bought it, and then I made a video of me changing out the tracks on the tractor because they were absolutely shot. And then I made another video changing the tracks because the first set of tracks that I bought were defective. But today's maintenance day. Now, I've actually already changed the engine oil on this tractor off camera. My dad wanted to borrow the tractor for a couple weeks and see if it would work on the tile plow, which it did. I didn't make a video on that, but I changed the engine oil before my dad took it out. But now I'm going to do two extremely important things. First of all is the drive and bogey oil. So on these Challenger tractors, it is absolutely crucial that you change the oil in these final drive gears, and then also in the bogey wheels. You can see I've already done one and kind of made a mess. And then I'm also going to be changing the hydraulic / transmission oil. I don't really know how long it's been since they've changed that oil, but this filter right here, which actually does the steering, was about over 1,500 hours ago. So new tractor, to me, it's just really nice to have all the basic maintenance done so that way I know where the tractor sits. So I've never actually done bogey oil. We always did it in our John Deeres, but you don't have to do it as often. So I've actually never been part of it. So this is kind of a learning experience for me today. Now, this is probably going to be hard for you guys to believe, but I've actually never even watched anybody do this. I know there's probably a dozen different YouTubers that have made videos doing this. I kind of did a quick search last night. I really couldn't find much and I was tired, so I went to bed. And my manual doesn't really explain how to change the oil. It just explains how to check it. So I basically just went to my dealer when I bought the parts that I need to do this, kind of just said, do you just take the covers off, drain them, and then fill them back up? And they said, yeah. So we're approaching this a bit differently. Now, if you guys have watched other YouTubers do this, and I'm doing it a very inefficient way, which is very probable, let me know down in the comments on what I can do to improve this. Because I learned a lot about my tractor and myself doing this one off camera. Okay, so based on what I had, this is the best way I could find to drain these little hubs. Is I got one of these filters that you can like change the shape of and it stays. Not filter, funnels. And I just kind of wedge it up underneath there like that. And then take the impact to take the bolts off, not put them back on. And then I kind of wiggle this cover off and drain the oil. I think that's a pretty good way to do it. And honestly, the gaskets on these little covers look pretty good, but I'm not a big one for reusing gaskets. I bought new gaskets, I'm gonna put them on. Got this little razor blade scraper that works pretty good. At least it did in the last one. We'll see about this one. I've always found it really hard to scrape and not scrape the metal. Over the years, I've gotten okay at it. Still a bit of a tricky challenge though. Lonely road, take me home to the place I belong. In terms of like gaskets to remove though, this is not that hard of a gasket. Pretty simple. Coming off pretty easy. There seems to be a nice difference between the gasket material and the paint. Lots of times there's not. There we go. That looks pretty dang good. That was the easy part. Actually, easy part's not quite over yet. Gotta grab the new gasket. And the last step, put the new gasket on, make sure all the oil's drained out. which, to be honest, these actually drain out a lot faster than I thought they would. By the time I get the old gasket material off, it's basically 100% drained off. But I do see there is actually a little bit of gasket material right here. Let me just peel that off really quick. You know, like, this isn't that bad of a job per bogey. It's the fact that you need to do 12 of them. That's where it starts to take forever. I know I've always been told it's like an all-day thing. And now I kind of see why. I gotta do the transmission oil yet, too. Okay. Little ratchet, put it back on. Now, I did reach out to Ziegler AGCO, and they told me it was 25 foot-pounds per bolt. I don't have a torque wrench that goes at 25 foot-pounds on me anyways. I have one at home. But I figured about as tight as I can get it with this little 1/4-inch ratchet would probably be about 25 foot-pounds. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, now this is where the fun part begins. Filling this thing back up. Now, Cat, in their infinite wisdom, use the smallest little plug known to mankind to use to fill it back up. Now, I thought I was being smart. This morning, I stopped at a local hardware store and I bought this funnel and put this little tube on the end of it. Just a little tube, not very big. Turns out, too big. But it's what I got, and I don't really feel like driving anywhere, so we're gonna go with it. So here's my process. I kinda put the tube, it doesn't actually fit inside, so I just kind of butt it up against it. And then I dump oil in this little funnel, and it can't hold much. And then I sit here and I wait.
Eventually.
You know, I don't smoke. Never have, never will. But if I did, right now would be the time to light one up. Hey, I got it. Look at that. I am 1/6 the way done. And now, if you look at these bogeys, you'll see that one is unlike the others. So, this one, when my dad was tiling with my tractor, after we switched the tracks over, this bogey must not have been torqued down very good, and it fell off. That's why there's 7 out of 8 new bolts. There's one bolt barely holding it back on. And I was able to straighten out the bogey and everything. The bogey's fine, but it did kind of smash down the edge of this cover right here. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, and it kind of went into the hub itself. So taking this cover off is gonna be really interesting. I'm not for sure if it's gonna come off very well, but I hope it left a flat enough surface. I did end up buying a brand new cover. So as long as it left a flat enough surface, I should be able to just do the same thing, put the new cover on. I hope I do not need to buy a new hub, because I think it's like $600 or $700 just for the hub. Wow, did I ever get lucky. It was 100% contained on the cap. The hub itself actually did not deform at all. So I should just be able to pop a new gasket on the new cover, throw it on, and not worry about it. Oh, that makes you feel good. I was for sure that I was gonna have to get a grinder out here and reshape this hub. Okay, fresh, new cap. This bogey's gonna look so different compared to the rest, because the rest of them are all beaten and sanded from dirt hitting it. stocks hitting it, you name it. And then this one has 7 out of 8 new bolts and a new cap. But I'm at a stage in my life where function comes before prettiness. I'm more worried about making money on my new farm than I am having the brightest and shiniest looking equipment. Got myself a quarter of the way done. Now I'm gonna do the inside of this track and then go the other side and do that track. But I think it's time for a time lapse because you can only watch so much of this before it gets incredibly boring. Come over to this side quick. So remember that bogey that fell off?
Yeah.
And I was really worried about it smashing the hub and making it not seal right. So I got a new cap. It was like 30 bucks. And turns out that 100% of the damage was on the cap itself. It didn't transfer at all over to the hub.
So you're happy?
I am happy, yes.
Okay, good. Somehow I innocently get involved, and I'm the guilty part.
I never blamed you for that. I was the one that tightened them up.
Okay.
That wasn't your fault.
That again, I don't know how it got to the point it did with one bolt.
Yeah, there's one bolt holding it barely on. It was just wobbling there.
I mean, we get in and out of it all the time. It wasn't like.
Yeah, no, it's right next to the stairs.
I mean, we were tiling, so we're getting in and out of it every 10 minutes. But you know, that you can thank Zach for that one, or it probably would have went through the other bogies.
Yeah. You're replacing your rolls on your 8-row?
I guess.
I remember helping you with that last time,
Yeah.
or the 12-row.
I wish we would have used it this fall.
Did you run it outside at all or not?
No, I don't run it. It ain't gonna make any difference.
Okay, you actually need to get material through it.
Well, all I know, when we did the 12 row, that came off pretty easy,
Yep,
and that had been used the year previous.
yep.
When we changed this, it had been sitting for a couple of years. And
Yeah.
it's really.
And it wasn't used at all this year either.
No.
But
It
no,
was-
he's replacing the. Well, what is it?
Well, these are the new rolls.
These are new rolls in the 8-row, but the 12-row needs new ones. So he's taking 8 rows off the 8-row, and then he's putting 4 new ones on the.
When we were together, we were using this head,
Yep,
and we put new rolls on it. The other ones were shot,
yep,
and then we split up.
yep.
And they bought a new head, and our 12 row is a pretty old head. So rather than spending all the money for a new head, I bought this one for a spare. So,
Yep. Yeah. So he's gonna take some of the.
but this one's got the new rolls. The other ones are shot.
Yeah. So he's gonna take the new rolls off this head, put them on the 12-row, and then buy the extra 4 rows.
So the old rolls, we got to run this for 3 days, or the other head's getting fixed.
You just put the old rolls back on this.
This is good. The rolls are good enough for a few days.
Yep.
And the rolls are very expensive, so they're calling us.
Well, once I get done with my tractor, if you want help, I can probably help you a little bit. Because eventually I'll probably need to replace the rolls on the corn head that I buy, and I'll probably need your help.
I don't know if those are. Yeah, they're probably about the same.
Yeah.
You should get a Calmer sponsorship to help with the.
Yeah, Calmers, you want to put some rolls on my corn head I might possibly buy?
That'll be 4 times or 5 times the cost of your corn head if you're going to go that way.
Probably. But no, this is actually pretty easy. It's just time consuming.
Okay, good.
So I got to do the rears yet. And then I forgot to buy gaskets for the front. So that might be another day. Or if you want to go to lunch to Jackson.
No, I think we're going back south for your brother's project.
Oh, okay. Well, have fun with that.
For like the rest of the day, I think. So. But we've had a pretty good day. I got everything done.
Good.
Shed is full. Combine's in. Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Finally finished all the bogies. I don't know how many hours that took. Few probably. Now I got the rear final drive / reaction arm. So Oh, where's my flashlight? Right here. It's all oily now. It's so oily I can't even turn it on. There we go. So there's a little plug right there and up there. Now I've been told that one of them has a magnet in it, one of them doesn't, but they both go to the same spot. So the plan is that you remove that plug in the bottom, drain all the oil out of it, and then you drive the tractor just enough to get that plug up to the side in a 90-degree position, and then you refill it. And this is an important one, because if these reaction arms go out, it's like $8,000 before labor. It's very expensive. There we go. My knees are already very upset with me from kneeling and sitting on my legs while doing those. So here's my plan. There isn't much of one. Basically, I'm going to take the plug out and then try to catch most of it in this little container that I've been using for all the bogeys. I have seen people use like magnets with PVC pipe here, but they usually put the magnet up above. The problem is that I have an ultra wide stance, so I have this massive axle sticking out here. And you could probably still like go to the bottom and be fine. Like, there's ways to do it, but I'm basically ignoring all of them. Is this a bigger... What the heck? It's not the same size. Aha! Now, how big of a mess is this going to make, and how quick is it going to make it? Oh, that is extremely slow. Wowzers. So I went to my Echo dealer. I got a couple more parts here. Got some extra gaskets because I forgot them for the front hubs. And then I also bought a full new set of plugs for the rear here, because I don't want to be pounding plugs or pounding Allen wrenches into my plug every single time I need to use it. So now that this has been draining for a while, I should be able to just wipe up all this extra oil that spilled when I was on the road. And then I'm going to back it up a little bit, so that way my drain plug is sitting horizontal, which will then turn into my fill plug. And I can fill it up. I just wanted to make sure that, so I'm filling up this hole right here. There's also one over here. I just wanted to make sure that this hole is slightly higher than this one, which means that I'll be overfilling it by a little bit. I'd rather overfill it a tiny amount than underfill it a tiny amount. Honestly, it probably doesn't really matter too much each way, but this gives me a little bit of peace of mind. This is just going to take a lot longer because it takes a lot more oil. Done. Oh boy, there's oil going everywhere. It took forever, but I got it done. What I actually ended up doing was I took the other plug out on the other side so I could breathe. That way my gravity fed system worked a little bit faster, a little bit better. And then once it started coming out of the lower side, I plugged that and I filled it up a little bit further until it came out the higher side. And then I put my new plug in. So we should be done on this side. And now lastly, we have the front. Now my front idler here is going to be a bit trickier than most because I have all these weights on mine. If you didn't have the weights, this would be a lot simpler. But I think dealing with it and making a little bit of a mess, like I haven't made one already, is going to be simpler than trying to take the weights off. So let's see if I can get this form a funnel to kind of work here. This front idler should be very similar to the front Bogey in terms of how it works. Either they repainted this, the previous owners, or the front one has never been changed because the paint is immaculate on these bolts. And when I'm taking them off, the paint's coming off. So it looks like a perfectly painted bolt, and then I take it off and the paint's just gone. Kind of scares me a little bit. This is the last bolt. How big of a mess will I make today? Okay, this needs a little encouragement. That didn't seem to encourage much. Oh, here we go. Aha. That oil is extremely black. I don't know if the front has ever been changed. Wow. I mean, look at that. Way darker than the rears and the mids. Man, if I had all the footage of me filling everything on this tractor, all these bogies, idlers, reaction arms, and whatever, I'd have like 3 hours of footage alone. Just me silently staring at this little hose and funnel. There we go. Hallelujah. Oh, I'm never gonna underestimate. I'm never gonna underestimate. Oh my gosh. I'm never gonna underestimate this job again. So it's the next day. There's some other projects going on in here. That's why it's so loud. But I need to change the hydraulic oil on my tractor. Now, according to the book, it looks fairly simple. It looks like you just gotta remove one drain plug and then the suction filter and then a couple of filters. But it's all underneath this like 1/4 inch steel plating. So I'm gonna grab a jack, get as much of this off as I possibly can, and then see what I'm dealing with. So the bolt that I'm about to remove is huge. It's like an 1.5 inch, 1.25 bolt. But I'm wondering if I keep the lid on the fill port, it should create a vacuum and slow it down.
Should.
It'd be a little bit. So I was told that if I really want to slow it down, you shove a shop vac in there.
I was just gonna say suction would.
But I don't know. I mean, I have 25 gallons worth of buckets underneath there now.
It's probably gonna hold like 40.
I think it's 48.
That's listed, or?
And the manual says 48 gallons.
Okay, well, you never get. I mean, we trade when we.
Yeah,
we
I'm
switched
guessing we'll probably
8,000,
get.
There's almost 20 gallons left in them.
Okay, so we'll see. I don't know. I just got a bunch of buckets underneath there. In case it's really fast, I'm gonna have you run back and forth to the oil dump. Unless you want to be underneath and you want. I mean, do you want to be underneath? You want me to run?
I'll walk quickly. I'm not
Okay.
gonna fail it.
Okay. And I didn't actually end up needing. I mean, I had to take a bunch of these side panels off to get to the suction screen in there, but you actually do not need to remove a bottom panel to get to the bolt. It's up there. So, okay, you ready?
I guess.
I'll see if I can even get this bolt off. It's massive. Okay, you're right, tighty lefty loosey. Ooh. Come on, Betsy. Oh my gosh.
The wrench you got.
I got this wrench. It's a inch and
You want a big breaker?
1.5 inches. Yeah, I need a big breaker. 1.5 inches. Oh, let's go one more. Oh. Oh. There we go. Okay. Aha! Pull up my sleeve. Oh, I don't know if I've ever done this and not been covered in oil afterwards. I literally brought an extra sweatshirt and an extra t-shirt because NTS is going to come film later today with me.
Are you going to be up there to get the pails?
Probably.
Oh, I wouldn't get too dirty today. I pressure washed off the bottom of the fuel tank.
Yeah.
And then I swept the floor with the...
Where's the broom at? I was trying to find it.
It's by the fuel trailer.
Oh, okay. Because when I took the side panels off, paneling's good, except for the fact that it packs it full of dirt. Oh, that's pretty fast.
Ready?
Yep. I can hear your fast footsteps. The good news is that it's slowing down, so I think you're okay to walk.
Where are you up again?
Oh, probably up here again.
You'll probably be up there.
There you go.
There's an obstruction in our dump.
I wish I could have got that on video.
They haven't changed it in a while, huh?
He didn't remember. He said he didn't remember if it was going to be this year or next year they're going to replace it.
Oh, it's black.
No, oil looks pretty good, but it's just one of those things where I might as well replace it when I get it. I know where the tractor's at, you know.
You think I'm going to get caught up? I'm not.
I mean, I have another bucket here.
I know.
The stream is significantly smaller now, though. Oh, there. Now we're right at the end of it. Probably open the cap now because it's starting to glug. There we go. While the pan is still dripping a little bit of oil, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the oil filter. So that'd be this one right here. There's also that one right up there. This is the main hydraulic filter. That one is for the steering. This one's a lot bigger. Take this one off, I got a new one, toss that on quick. And then also the suction screen is way back in there, and I'll try and get to that here too. These filter wrenches, filter strap wrenches, whatever you wanna call them. Absolutely love these things. Okay. I think it needs to go this direction. I don't know if I've ever had a filter I can't get off of one of these things. Wow. Whoever did work on this before really like to torque things down. Okay, this is a slightly different type of filter strap wrench. This one uses an actual ratchet rather than just a little handle. Hopefully I can get some more torque on it. There we go. There's going to start to leak. I'll just let it drip. Oh my gosh. Here's the new filter. Costs over $100 just for the filter. Got a little bit of fresh oil on my finger. I'm going to lube up this O-ring quick. And put it on. Okay, so it says a half turn past when it touches. Okay. Oil drained, check. New filter on, check. Now, there is what they call a suction screen. So a little, it's not really a filter, more just like a screen that it sucks the oil through. And that is located way back in there. I need to go to a lower setting. So I think I gotta take this bottom shield off a little bit so I can get a lot easier access to it. Pull it out, make sure it's clean, put it back on, and then I'm gonna put the drain plug back in and start filling it up.
You don't need a light? You got a light?
I got a light. Oh my gosh. Man, they use heavy steel in this thing. So right underneath this cover right here is the suction screen. So same thing, paint looks perfect on the bolts. I don't know if it's ever been taken off. So probably worth taking off and just making sure it's cleaned up before I put it back together, because to be honest, probably not gonna be putting a ton of hours in this tractor every year for my acres, so the hydraulic oil is probably gonna last a while on it. So I might as well do every step of the way right now and just get it done with. They don't get enough room for you to get it out? It hits the hose. What the heck? So from the looks of it, this had never been taken out of this tractor. So just kind of get a close-up of it. Quite a bit of crap on the outside. And what you probably can't see in the camera is that in between the fins, see how black it is in there? It's pretty full of crap. I'm glad I took the extra few minutes to take it out. Now the hard part is how in the heck I'm gonna clean it out. We do have this old parts cleaner over here. I believe it still works. I might just try and see if I can't get this cleaned out as good as I can and let it drip for a while so that way it doesn't get mixed in with the new hydraulic oil. I'm getting a lot of it out. It's hard to get 100% of it. It's all kind of collecting down here at the bottom. Well, a little bit of parts washer fluid, a brush, and then an air compressor. Actually cleaned up really nice. I was kind of afraid it would take a really long time. I don't know, maybe spent 15-20 minutes on it. And after I blowed it off, honestly, it's pretty dry. So the little bit of fluid that's left on it will dilute in the 48 gallons of hydraulic fluid I got put in it. I'm not too worried about it. I think I'm ready to start putting this thing back together and actually start putting oil in it so that way I can move the dumb thing. Okay. See, oh boy. It's so disgustingly dirty down here. Need to get my rag just to wipe off the area before I install it again. There we go. Reinstall the drain plug. Filters on. Suction screens back in. Put the cover back on. So I should be good. Start filling. I also attempted to do a calibration on the hydraulic oil meter here in this 1 gallon container. I will verify that here in a second. But this tractor takes 48 gallons of hydraulic oil. I should have really lowered my 3-point before I started. It would have made a lot of sense. But 1. So I was looking at getting my own bulk oil tank for a while. And then I figured out, you know, my dad and my brother have 2 bulk oil tanks and we go through a local co-op. So I'm just gonna write a check to the local co-op, drop it off and tell them to put it in their account. That way I don't have to get my own tank and everything. So 48 gallons of oil this thing takes at $14.71 a gallon. So that's what, $700-ish oil bill. That's before any other parts. I think the filter was $100 and some dollars. So it's a expensive thing to change oil on a tractor, especially hydraulic oil. Plus, they got the meter set up, which is really nice, when those are also really expensive. So as long as I'm borrowing or still using the shop with my dad and my brother, I'm just going to use their oil and then pay them back for it. It's kind of the plan. Easiest way to do it. So far I have put 43 gallons in this tractor, not the full 48, because in our experience in the past with John Deere's, and you might have heard my dad say this earlier if I kept that clip in, typically we're usually 10 to 15 gallons short when we dump all the hydraulic oil out. It just tends to stick all over the place in there. But I actually think I got dang near all the oil out of this. So I put 43 in, and the book says that before you start it, you want the oil level to be at the top of this middle bubble. Now, it's at the bottom, which means I can put a few more gallons in. And not only that, but because I replaced this filter right here, which this filter's massive, I can probably hold a gallon by itself, and the steering filter right there, I think I'll probably put 47 in it and see where it sits, and then start it for a little bit and let it circulate through everything. Well, I ended up putting the full 48 in, and it's at the very bottom of that top bubble, but it hasn't gone through any filters yet. So I think I got a full 48 gallons out of it. So props to Challenger for not only having a simpler oil changing method than Deere, but actually being able to get all the oil out of it. Tractor's been running for about 5 minutes. The oil level is supposed to be about halfway up that bottom bubble in the sight gauge, and it is completely empty. So I'm going to keep adding while it's running until I see it about halfway up that bottom bubble. I'm not worried about breaking anything because I did put 48 gallons in it already, so I'm not worried about that. But should definitely be adding some more before I hit the field, or obviously I'm going to do it right now. So I turned the tractor off. I have put 58 gallons in this tractor so far. The book calls for 48. And I am still not quite where I need to be. Now, I think I might know what's kind of going on here with this tractor. So in the specifications in the book, lots of times there's certain things that it'll list different specifications for an ultra wide or a narrow gauge. Now I have an ultra wide. But when it comes to the the transmission oil, there is no specification between standard gauge and ultra wide gauge. Now, the big difference is that my ultra wide gauge has these huge bell axle housings that go all the way out to the track. So this is at 120 inch spacing, they go all the way out to the tracks. And these, I'm pretty sure, have oil in them at some level. So these things are massive, so I'm guessing that the book didn't account for this, and I'm trying to fill these full of oil, and that's why I need so much more, because it sure felt like we drained a lot more than 48 gallons. So now that I got it shut off, and it's been off for a while, I put the side panels back on it. I'm just going to fill it up right about to where it needs to be when it's shut off, and we should be good. And I'm going to keep track of it so I know for next time. 60 gallons. They were off by 12 gallons. 60 times 14.71 equals $882.60 in just oil to fill this thing up. Plus another about $150 worth of filters. We have $1,000 just to change the transmission and hydraulic oil on the tractor. And that's me doing all the work. Crazy how expensive some of this stuff is. Well, there we go. It actually ended up being a couple days worth of work, and it wasn't like full days of work. It was on off, being distracted by this, being distracted by that. But off camera, I did the engine oil, I did the air filters. On camera, I did the steering filter, hydraulic oil, all the bogies, idlers, front, rear. this thing, other than maybe a couple other little things, this thing should be good to go. It also just makes me feel really good knowing that I've changed everything. I know where all the hours stand, and now I know my intervals for changing everything else, and it just gives me a little bit of peace of mind. You know, every time I've bought in a vehicle, even if who I bought it from claimed they just did a fresh oil change on it, I've always done one like right away when I got home. I didn't exactly do that with this, but we haven't put too many hours on it yet. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.